The next day, the jungle seemed to shift around them. What had once felt like an endless expanse of verdant green was now suffused with an unsettling stillness, as though the land itself was holding its breath. The trees loomed larger, their branches twisting into unnatural shapes. The air felt thick with a dampness that clung to their skin, and the once lively sounds of birds and insects were now strangely muted, replaced by an eerie silence. Elowen paused at the edge of the path, her eyes scanning the surroundings. There was something in the air, a subtle tremor, a whisper just beyond her reach. It was as if the jungle was watching them.
I don't like this.
Thorn muttered from behind her, his hand resting on his dagger's hilt. His eyes flicked nervously to the trees, as though expecting something to leap out from the shadows.
It feels like we're being followed.
Kale stepped beside her, his expression grim.
It's not just you. Something's wrong. The magic here, it's twisted. The land feels sick, like it's been infected.
Elowen nodded, her pulse quickening. She could feel the same dark pulse resonating deep within the earth, a faint thrumming vibration beneath her feet. It was a kind of magic she had never encountered before. Dark, corrupt, as if something was spreading through the land itself, altering it.
What do we do?
Thorn asked, his voice low.
We keep moving.
Kale said, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the dense foliage ahead.
But we need to be careful. The land might be changing, but we don't know what's causing it. We're close. I can feel it.
Elowen looked toward the horizon, where the jagged peaks of the mountains loomed. They had set their course toward the mountains after leaving the ruin, hoping to uncover more clues about the ancient power they had uncovered. The sense of urgency had been growing in her chest ever since they left the ruin, but now, as they drew closer to their destination, the darkness that hung over the land was undeniable.
I don't think we can afford to waste time,
Elowen said.
Whatever's happening, it's spreading. We need to find answers, and soon.
With a final glance back at the jungle, they pressed on. The air grew colder as they moved deeper into the forest, the dense foliage giving way to rocky terrain. The path narrowed and the mountain peaks in the distance grew sharper, more foreboding. The oppressive silence of the jungle was replaced by the distant sound of rushing water, something more familiar but no less unnerving. By late afternoon, they reached a small clearing where a narrow river flowed between jagged rocks. The water shimmered strangely in the dim light, casting odd reflections that didn't quite match the surroundings.
This river wasn't here the last time I passed through.
Kale muttered, his brow furrowed.
This is new. And look at the water.
Elowen's eyes narrowed. The river was unnaturally still, its surface almost glass-like. The water had an iridescent sheen, as though it were infused with something that didn't belong.
It's not natural.
Elowen said softly, her hand twitching toward her staff.
We should be careful. This feels wrong.
As they approached the river, the ground beneath their feet seemed to shift. A low rumble vibrated through the earth, followed by a sharp crack that echoed through the valley. Elowen's heart skipped a beat. She turned to Kale, her eyes wide.
Did you feel that?
Kale nodded, his face tight with concern.
Something is coming, something powerful.
Before they could react, the ground erupted, and a massive, shadowy figure emerged from the river, its form shifting and writhing like smoke. It was a creature of darkness, an unnatural amalgamation of water, shadow, and rage. Its eyes glowed with a faint red light, and its massive form towered above them, its claws dripping with the strange liquid that had filled the river. Thorn drew his dagger, his face a mask of defiance.
Well, this is just great.
Kale raised his hand, summoning a barrier of light in front of them.
Stay behind me.
He commanded, his voice firm.
We don't know what this is, but we can't face it head on. We'll have to find a way around it.
The creature howled, the sound a deep, guttural growl that echoed through the valley. It was like nothing they had ever heard before, an ancient sound, primal and filled with malice. It charged forward, its massive form moving with terrifying speed, its claws slashing through the air toward them.
Elowen,
Kale shouted.
We need to stop it before it destroys everything in its path.
Elowen's mind raced. She could feel the dark magic pulsing from the creature, the corruption that had spread through the land, and now manifested in this nightmare. She had no idea what kind of creature this was, but she knew it wasn't something they could defeat with force alone.
I'll try to bind it.
She yelled, raising her staff.
Cover me.
She gathered her focus, drawing on the magic that had always been both a gift and a curse for her. The magic thrummed within her veins, and for a moment, the world seemed to slow. She could feel the tendrils of the dark magic in the creature, could sense the way it moved, how it was fueled by the twisted forces that had corrupted the land. With a sharp motion, she thrust her staff forward, weaving a binding spell, a force that would hold the creature in place, if only for a moment. The air crackled with energy as the spell surged toward the creature, but the moment the spell made contact, the creature let out a deafening screech, and the binding was shattered, the dark magic unraveling the threads of Elowen's power.
What is this thing?
Thorn shouted, dodging the creature's claws as it lashed out.
It's too strong.
Elowen gasped, her breath coming in quick gasps.
We have to find another way. This isn't just a creature, it's a manifestation of the land's corruption. We need to stop what's causing this.
Kale's face was tight with determination.
Then we'll stop it. Together.
The creature advanced again, but this time, Elowen focused not just on the creature, but on the magic that had twisted the land. She could sense it more clearly now. The presence of a dark force, pulsing deep beneath the earth, spreading out like a cancer.
Elowen, what are you doing?
Kale called out.
I'm going to sever the magic at its source.
Elowen said, her voice steely with resolve.
Cover me.
She closed her eyes, reaching deep into the earth beneath them, feeling the flow of magic. She felt the dark pulse, the corruption that ran like a poison through the very roots of the land. It was strong, too strong, but she had to try. With a sharp cry, Elowen called on the full power of her magic, channeling everything she had learned, everything she had gained. The air around her shimmered, the ground beneath her feet cracked, and the very trees seemed to shudder. For a brief moment, the creature froze, as if caught in some unseen force. And then, with a final burst of energy, Elowen forced the dark magic to recede, pulling it back into the earth. The creature let out a final agonized roar before it collapsed, its form dissolving into the strange water of the river. The silence that followed was deafening. Kale lowered his hand, his eyes wide with shock.
What in the gods' names was that?
Elowen collapsed to her knees, exhausted from the effort.
A manifestation of the corruption spreading across this land, and it's only the beginning. Whatever is causing this, it's powerful.
Thorn sheathed his dagger, his voice grim.
And we're going to have to face it, aren't we?
Elowen nodded, staring into the distance, her heart heavy.
Yes, we are. Whatever's twisting this world, we have to stop it.
As the three of them stood there, the remnants of the creature vanishing into the dark waters, they knew that the path ahead would be fraught with more danger than they had ever imagined. The land was changing, the corruption was spreading, and the three of them were at the heart of it.